Hello, welcome in right now here back in the Cadence Weather Center. It's been a little bit since we've done a video update here, but we do actually have a severe weather threat that I want to talk about a little bit here. Really, for majority of an interesting area right here due to a cold front kind of coming down here. We can clearly see stretching from Pennsylvania all the way over here into Kansas. Really, it's kind of just one big happy face here if we just draw it like that. Pretty big smile for a happy face right here, but it is a cold front that we are watching very, very closely here. We'll take a look at the future radar, but the slight risk is going through Kansas, going all the way into parts of Oklahoma, going through Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, parts of the Florida Panhandle, heading into South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and then parts of the Northeast as well. This is an area that we want to keep an eye out on, and then really just this region right here for some pretty big storms over here in the next couple of hours. We're going to keep an eye out on this very closely here. Taking a look here in the next hour or two, we're going to take a look here, already starting to see maybe some possible storms start to blow up here in Alabama going into Georgia. Then a little bit same thing over here in North Carolina and parts of Virginia. We could be seeing some storms start to pop up in these areas. Then we head on over here until 8 p.m. tonight. We can clearly see some of these storms not too big over here in this area right now. Little scattered thunderstorms going on throughout Arkansas. Same thing with Alabama and Georgia. And then we could be seeing it through the Carolinas as well as the Northeast. So 4 zones need to be paying attention to it. The severe weather, as we have different areas that are really going to be paying attention to very, very closely here. We have one, once again, all the way up here in the Northeast, 11 p.m. My main focus would say that this area right here and this area right here needs to be our biggest focus, but also what's over here, actually, because that is where our tornado threat is. So something to be paying attention to as we go on. Throughout the next couple of hours here, we're going to continue to see these storms continue to push down to the south here, as that cold front obviously is going to be pushing down to the south. That'll bring a little bit of temperatures that we would like to see more, but if we head into around 3 a.m., you can see majority of these storms have already pushed off of the United States and now into the ocean. Still a little bit of scattered showers and storms possibly over here in Missouri and going into Kansas and Oklahoma. But our main focus, I would say, going into tomorrow, we have some pretty big storms over here. Charleston, Savannah, Georgia. You guys could be dealing with some pretty big storms going into tomorrow, early 3 a.m. here. And then same thing with parts of the Florida Panhandle, Tallahassee, Panama City. You guys could be getting some pretty big storms as well. And then as we go into tomorrow morning, see a little bit more of a storm start to blow up over here in about southern Arkansas, heading into possibly even Mississippi. Something to be paying attention to as we go on, obviously, throughout the next couple of days, as the severe weather threat is a little bit different tomorrow. Not much going on in this region like we're expecting for the rest of the day today. A little bit still in the northeast, though, that we can continue to pay attention to, stretching from the east coast all the way up to the northeast. Very, very big marginal risk here for parts of the Midwest, and we're going to keep an eye out on that. A little slight risk just east of Denver here in Colorado. And then we have a marginal risk down here in Louisiana as well as northern Florida, including Jacksonville. So something to be paying attention to, as there's some possible storms that go into tomorrow. In these marginal risks, we could still be seeing some pretty gusty winds with some strong storms, occasionally. But slight risk, that's where we could possibly be seeing the most of the severe weather. The question is will the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center change their whole outlook on this? We will have to keep an eye out on that very, very closely. So right now, I actually want to take a look here at the potential here for possibly some pretty big heat over here in the next couple of days. Right now, we're going to take a look here at the northwest. We can clearly see we have a lot of those, going into tomorrow, we could be seeing some pretty high temperatures reaching up into possibly into the upper 80s, going into the lower 90s. Some areas do have a little bit of, we can clearly see a little bit of different areas, 78, 78, 78, 65 over here, and 69. So a little bit more on the coast here. We could be seeing a little bit of something. Then we head into 3 days. It starts to cool down here, and then heading in from a week from now, very good news in this region right here for Washington and parts of Oregon, starting to get into those fall temperatures, which is great news to hear. 56 degrees over here, so definitely something to be paying attention to as we go on throughout the next couple of days. Heading into the Midwest, though, a little bit more of a different scenario. We have day 2, a little bit of a cool down, as you can clearly see, heading into day 3, so around Monday, a little bit of cooler weather in this region right here, but Then we start to heat right back up, as you can clearly see, possibly reaching up into the hundreds later on the day 7. So in about a week, we're going to have a little bit more of a warm, type area come back, and then we're going to have a little bit more of a cool front once again come by, but most likely we're going to still see some pretty hot temperatures over the next couple of days. Heading into the northeast, though, heading into tomorrow, still very nice temperatures over here in this region right here. We want to keep an eye out on that. 74 to 76 really in Ohio, 67 in parts of Ohio as well. Michigan, northern Michigan, 69, 67, 64 degrees. Very, very nice temperatures, starting to feel fall temperatures instead of the 100 degrees. But then we head back in over here 6 days out. This is where we're going to start to see a little bit more, obviously. There's that 92, 90s degree weather right there. 80s will be for Michigan. Still kind of ranging in the 70s for this area, but still could possibly be going back up here into the 80s until around 2 weeks from now. We could be having a little bit of another cool down. Heading into more of the southwest here, heading back over here into California and Arizona. This is where our biggest thing is right now. Tomorrow, 117 degrees down here in Southern California, 114 as well. And then around Phoenix, 112 degrees. So something to be definitely paying attention to. Heading into Texas, we're still seeing, and going into tomorrow, still seeing those temperatures into the hundreds still, without much of a cool down for the next 15 days, not seeing much of a cool down. So then we head down to the southeast here. Tomorrow, we're seeing a little bit of a cool down over here in parts of North Carolina, going into eastern Tennessee, going into 4 days out, 7 days, 8 days. That's when we start to see the hot temperatures over here. Florida, you can clearly see still kind of in the upper 80s, not as hot as over here though. And then, still with the East Coast, but then starts to pick up with the heat once again. With the East Coast starting, some of that heat will start to push over to the east, and then we start to have maybe a little bit more cool down as we're going to start to see some more fronts start to come down. So make sure that you're paying attention, obviously, to the weather here and kind of just what you could be expecting for your area, as we do have that severe weather risk, and we also do have the heat that we want to be paying attention to especially. So please make sure you're paying attention to any weather updates that we have out for you. Please make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and also I will be putting my X page down in the description, so make sure to follow that for frequent updates here. Hoping to get back in the groove of this, to get back into uploading videos as much. Been really busy, but we're trying to get back into it. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.